Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the fundamentals of strategic management. We're talking about the hidden blueprint that the world's most successful companies use to plan, compete, and just flat out win, not just for a little while, but for decades. So let's kick things off with a question. Have you ever looked at one of those companies that just seems to be on top of their game year after year and wondered, how do they do that? Is it just a lucky roll of the dice, or is there something more deliberate going on behind the scenes? Well, you guessed it, it's not luck. The answer is strategy. And at its heart, strategy isn't about trying to do everything for everyone. It's actually about making deliberate trade-offs, those tough choices that let you stand out from the crowd. So what even is strategy, really? There's a huge misconception that it's all about being the best, in a head-to-head fight with your competitors. But the real goal? It's to be unique. It's about finding a space where you don't just compete, you create your own game. And that leads us to this core idea of strategic positioning. It's all about getting a sustainable competitive advantage. The keyword there is sustainable. This is about building something so distinctive, like a secret sauce for your company, that other people just can't copy it easily. That's what gives you a real long-term edge. And this whole approach really stands on three key principles. First, you've got to carve out that unique and valuable position. Second, and this one is so important, you have to make trade-offs. You have to consciously decide what you are not going to do. And third, you need to create a fit, where all the different parts of your company are working together, all pulling in the same direction to support that unique position. Okay, so that's the what of strategy. But what about the how? How do organizations actually build one and then manage it? Well, it's not some one-off brainstorming session. It's a very deliberate, structured process. And here it is. This is the roadmap. It's a 5-step process that gives you a clear path from that big picture idea all the way down to execution and checking your work. This is going to be the game plan we follow for the rest of our explainer. So the whole journey starts with your mission and vision. That's your why, your reason for being. Then you've got to get real and assess your current situation. From there, you actually formulate the plan. Then you put it into action, and finally, you maintain control to make sure you stay on track. Let's zoom in on that second step, assessing reality. Because think about it, before you can plan where you're going, you have to know exactly where you're starting from. And that means taking a good, hard, honest look at your situation. So to build a really great strategy, you need a brutally honest picture of where you are right now. You just can't chart a course to a new place without knowing your starting point. So how do you actually do that? Well, one of the classic and most powerful tools for this is the SWOT analysis. It's just a simple framework that helps you organize your thinking by looking at things happening both inside and outside your company. And the framework is so powerful because it's so simple. It splits everything into two main buckets. You've got your internal factors, your strengths and weaknesses. Those are things you can control, like your team or your technology. Then you've got your external factors, opportunities and threats. That's the stuff happening out in the world that you have to react to, like market trends or new competitors. And when you apply this to a real company like Apple, it makes perfect sense. Their incredible brand reputation, that's a huge internal strength. But the constant, intense competition in the tech world, that's a massive external threat that they always have to keep an eye on. Okay, so you've done your SWOT analysis. You know where you stand. Now you're at step 3 of our roadmap, formulating the strategy. This is where you make the big calls on exactly how you're going to compete and win. The legendary strategist Michael Porter really hit the nail on the head here. This choice is all about focus. It means deciding which products to pour your resources into and which ones to maybe pull back from. And a classic tool for making these kinds of decisions is the BCG matrix. I want you to think about it like you're a gardener. It helps you look at all your products and decide which ones are your rising stars that need more attention, which are your cash cows that you can just harvest for profit, and which dogs might need to be removed to make space. So the crucial move here is to take the steady profits you're making from your established cash cows, those are the products with high market share in a slow market, and you use that money to invest in your high growth stars, the ones that could become your next big thing. Now at the business level, another huge choice is how you're going to compete in a given market. And Porter laid out these 4 basic options. Are you going to be the cheapest for a really wide audience, like Walmart, or are you going to be totally unique and different, like Apple? You can also apply those same ideas to a much smaller niche market, like Aldi does with cost or Ferrari does with differentiation. And finally, we get to steps 4 and 5, implementation and control. And this honestly might be the single most important takeaway of all. Strategy is not some document you create once and then just forget about. It's a living cycle. Let's go back to our roadmap. Remember that feedback loop at the bottom? The one going from the end all the way back to the beginning? That little arrow is the real engine of great strategy. That loop shows us that you have to constantly be monitoring your results, controlling the process, and then revising what you're doing based on what you learn from the real world. You got to keep asking, is the plan working? What do we need to change? Because a great strategy is never really finished. It's a living, breathing cycle of learning, executing, and adapting, all because the world is constantly changing around you. So I want to leave you with a final thought. Think about your own goals, maybe for your career or a personal project. Based on everything we've just talked about, what's one trade-off you could make? What's one thing you could choose not to do to make your own strategy more focused, more unique, and way more effective?